Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Deputy Prime Ministers, Honorable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I wish to greet those that are listening in or watching via television, live stream, or listening to the radios or wireless app. Also acknowledging the presence of students, law students at the University of the South Pacific, and also the newly crowned champions of cricket, the Kambara team. They're very proud to be sitting behind their self-appointed manager, the Honourable Minister for Agriculture. Honourable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I rise to deliver my ministerial statement on the Constitutional Offices Commission, the COC, which I chair as mandated by the Constitution of the Republic of Fiji. The Constitutional Offices Commission is established under Section 132(1) of the Constitution of Fiji. The Commission comprises the Prime Minister as the chairperson, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, the Honourable Attorney General, 2 persons appointed by the President on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, and 1 person appointed by the President on the advice of the Leader of the Opposition. The Prime Minister's current nominees are Ms. Rema Mbolombola and Mr. John Apted. And the Honourable Leader of the Opposition's nominee is Rabuka Randalo. The Secretary is the Solicitor General, who is assisted by the Secretariat team of designated senior lawyers, senior legal officers in the Office of the Solicitor General. Under Section 133 of the Constitution, the COC is responsible for providing advice to the President on the appointment of the following officers: the Chairperson and the members of the Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission, the Chairperson and members of the Electoral Commission, the Supervisor of Elections, the Secretary General to Parliament, the Chairperson and the members of the Public Service Commission, the Commissioner of Police, the Commissioner of the Fiji Correction Services, Commander of the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, the Auditor General, and the Governor of the Reserve Bank. Furthermore, Madam Deputy Speaker, pursuant to Section 138(4) of the Constitution, the COC establishes and maintains its own rules and regulations governing its internal procedures and functions. As such, the COC, for the first time, resolved to consider formulating its own standard operating procedures, or SOPs, with respect to the conduct of its procedures and functions. Following that decision, the first zero draft of the COC SOPs was circulated among the members. The Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, for the information of the House, COC was allocated $20,000 for this financial year. At present, the SOPs are being reviewed by the COC members to ensure that it is comprehensive, it is coherent, and compliant with the constitutional provisions and the objectives of the COC. The SOPs will serve as a starting point for the COC to implement and enforce its functions, its responsibilities, in alignment with the stipulated sections of the Constitution. The draft SOP contains procedures with respect to the quorum for the COC meetings, appointment and tenure of COC members, responsibilities of the Secretary to the COC, the appointment process for constitutional office holders, dealing with urgent COC matters, decision-making processes of the COC, the independence of the COC, and provisions regarding regular updates and advice to Parliament. Once finalized, these SOPs will not only streamline the internal operations of the COC, it will also provide clarity and guidance to its members regarding their roles and their responsibilities. Additionally, Honourable Madam Deputy Speaker, the SOPs will enhance transparency and accountability within the COC, fostering trust among stakeholders and the public of Fiji. It is expected that the finalized SOPs will be officially adopted by the COC following thorough deliberations and consensus building among its members. For the benefit of the House, under the COC, we have seen the appointment of Mr. Luke Rokmanda as the Chair of the Public Service Commission and Ms. Barbara Malimali as Chair of the Electoral Commission. The following substantive offices are currently vacant: Supervisor of Elections, Auditor General, and Commissioner of Fiji Correction Services. However, there are existing acting appointments in those offices, namely Ms. Anna Matediwa as Acting Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Sairusi Ndukuno as Acting Auditor General, and Ms. Charlotte Panpasa as Acting Commissioner of Corrections, all of whom were appointed by His Excellency the President on the advice of under my tenure. The recruitment process for these substantive offices is underway, and the COC intends to deliberate on the suitable candidates for the appointment in its next meeting later this month. For the first time ever, the COC established an independent committee to advise the COC on the appropriate remuneration and allowances that should be payable to all constitutional officers under its responsibility as referred to earlier. The independent committee consists of Mr. Dama Remuria as chairperson, Ms. Charlotte Ulina Deva, and Ms. Eleanor Bucotto. The remuneration and allowances for future appointments, including those for Supervisor of Elections, Commissioner Corrections, and Auditor General, will be based on the recommendation of the Independent Committee as mandated by Section 136(2) of the Constitution. Unfortunately, Madam Deputy Speaker, the previous COC did not adhere to that constitutional requirement, and some of the previous office holders' remunerations or allowances are subject to certain investigations by the Fiji Independent Commission against Corruption. During its meetings on the 18th and 26th of January of last year, the COC considered serious complaints of abuse of office made against certain former constitutional officers, namely the Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Mohammed Sanim, the Commissioner of Corrections, Mr. Francis Keane, and the currently suspended Commissioner of Police, Mr. Sitiveni. Those individuals were provided an opportunity to respond to the allegations, following which the COC deliberated on whether, based on the allegations made, the question of their removal ought to be investigated, in which case the COC was required to appoint a tribunal in accordance with Section 137(3)(a) of the Constitution. A tribunal appointed will be required to inquire into the matter and provide its written report to His Excellency the President. In the case of Mr. Sanim, as Supervisor of Elections, the COC received a complaint against Mr. Sanim, which had not been dealt with by the former COC members. On January 6, 2023, this complaint was forwarded to Mr. Sanim to provide any necessary responses before the COC decided on whether to appoint a tribunal to investigate the complaints in accordance with Section 137(4) of the Constitution. Mr. Sanim responded on the 9th of January 2023 to those complaints, and his responses were brought before the COC. On the 26th of January 2023, the COC, after considering the complaints and the responses provided by Mr. Sanim, agreed to refer the allegations to a tribunal composed of the Honorable Justice William Toko as chairperson, the Honorable Justice William Kalachini, and the former Honorable Judge Jiten Singh. On the advice of the COC, the President suspended Mr. Sanim pending the referral and appointment of the tribunal. However, before the tribunal could conduct its work, Mr. Sanim resigned as Supervisor of Elections, bringing that matter to an end. In the case of Mr. Keane, as Commissioner of Correctional Services, the COC received 5 complaints against him. On the 18th of January 2023, these complaints were forwarded to Mr. Keane to provide the necessary responses before the COC decided on whether to appoint a tribunal to investigate the complaints in accordance with Section 137(4) of the Constitution. Mr. Keane responded on the 23rd of January 2023 to those complaints, and his responses were brought before the COC. On the 26th of January 2023, the COC agreed to refer the complaints of misbehavior to a tribunal to inquire into the complaints and provide a report to the President. However, Mr. Keane tendered his resignation letter on the 14th of February 2023, and therefore there was no need to proceed with the tribunal proceedings. In the case of Mr. Ngilio, the Commissioner of Police, 3 separate complaints of misbehavior were lodged against him. On the 26th of January 2023, the COC agreed to refer those complaints of misbehavior to a tribunal to inquire into the complaints and provide the report to the President. The COC also agreed to recommend the suspension of Mr. Ngilio to the President, which is still in place. Overall, ensuring the smooth operations and constitutional offices of constitutional offices has been a cornerstone of the cornerstone of the COC's work in recent years, reflecting its ongoing commitment to efficiency and functionality within this vital institution. Building on these initiatives, on the 3rd of November 2023, the COC embarked on laying the groundwork for establishing an independent secretariat. This step is pivotal in enhancing the COC's capacity to facilitate its functions effectively, ensuring streamlined processes and better support its functions. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, in recent weeks, complaints against constitutional office holders have been highlighted in various media reports. In accordance with due processes and the rules of natural justice, all complaints against constitutional officers will be dealt with by the Commission. The officers in question will be given the opportunity to respond before the Commission makes any further decision in accordance with the Constitution. Honorable Madam Deputy Speaker, I expect an update on these issues at the upcoming meeting of the COC of the week beginning the 29th of April 2024, and thereafter I will update Parliament and the people of Fiji on the work of the Commission. I thank you.